Okay, so yeah, I have a whole list of problems that we could probably therapy out together, but today I wanted to bring up a big one that I noticed today. I don't know how to be on time. So that's my question. How do you be on time? And I'm not even looking for how to be early because I don't like being early. But just to be on time. Because here's the thing, if something is 10 minutes away, this is what I used to do. I used to not think about it until, you subtract, it's at 7 o'clock, 6:50. That's when, you start getting out of the house. Okay, I can see how that makes me late. So I thought, okay, I'll start thinking about it 5 minutes, add 5 minutes onto that drive time, you know what I mean? So I'll start thinking about it like, okay, 6:45. Tell me how it somehow takes me 10 minutes from the time that I think that I need to leave to get in the car and start. And I'm not even telling you that I'm like doing all these other things. Seriously, I think that time must skip because I think about it. I like put on whatever I need to put on, walk downstairs, get my shoes, keys, and somehow I'm in the car and it's like 7 to 10 minutes have passed. And it just seems like the cards are stacked, the deck is stacked against me, however that saying goes. Just seems like I'm not meant to really be there on time. And so, I've just let that happen. I don't want to force anything. But if it is possible to not have that happen, I just want to know. Um, and, some people are on time. So I'm like, okay, so this, yeah, I can't just be a universal skip in time that we're all experiencing. Like, why just me? Anyways, if you have answers, I'd love to hear. Today we're going to read a few different verses, actually, because the thought is in two different places and says kind of the same thing. So, Isaiah 30, verse 2, who walked to go down to Egypt and have not asked my advice, to strengthen themselves in the strength of Pharaoh and to trust in the shadow of Egypt. Kind of starts in, I kind of skipped the first part, but basically it's describing the children of Israel. They walk down to Egypt, they don't ask God's advice, they strengthen themselves in the strength of Pharaoh, and they trust in Egypt. And then in chapter 31, verse 1, it says, woe to those who go down to Egypt for help and rely on horses, who trust in chariots because they are many, and in horsemen because they are very strong, but who do not look to the Holy One of Israel, nor seek the Lord. So, same kind of thought. Um, the children of Israel, I don't know actually, maybe I should have looked into this. I don't know if this is like actually talking about them literally going back to Egypt, because I know like when they were in the wilderness, um, like how Exodus and Leviticus and Numbers, the stories in there talk about how the Israelites did like consider going back to Egypt after wandering for so long. So I don't know if this is like a callback to that, or if these people now um, were still having those same ideas, or it could be a metaphor. And that's what I wanted to talk about. Anyways, for us, how do we relate to this? Is, yeah, thinking about like what is our Egypt? For the Israelites, Egypt was their past, basically their past bondage and slavery. And when we become a Christian, our past is obviously before we um, trusted in Christ for our salvation. And so it is bondage before then because we're bound by the punishment of sin. And so, yeah, that can be characterized by a lot of different things, by pride, by selfishness, by hatred, by laziness, all, yeah, there's a bunch of different characteristics that our past life could have. And so it's basically saying that instead of turning to the Lord for their guidance and for their advice, they were considering going back to Egypt for these things. And the thing is, like, we wouldn't intentionally go to a bad source of advice. Like, most people wouldn't. The thing is, they believed that this was good. The thing is, the same thing is for us. When we go to something for advice, we kind of genuinely think that it's going to be good. But then that goes back to what I talked about a few days ago. Those are lies, actually, that we think are protecting us or helping us, but they're actually harming us more. So, yeah, we think like, oh, that they probably, I mean, their life seems to be working out, or they seem to be having like what they wanted, or they, yeah, seem to have pretty solid advice. Let's just go to them for that. But whoever it is, if you're going to it first, it's a substitute for the Lord, and God like can't stand for that, and neither should we. Um, yeah, what are we putting before God when it comes to who we seek or who we go to for guidance? And I think a lot of times we do go back to our past for those things. We go back to things that used to make us happy, or things that the world uses to complete them, or anything like that. Um, yeah, I was trying to think of some examples. Maybe it's like, for me, probably it's probably social media. That it's not necessarily like, oh, I had a past in social media and then the Lord redeemed me from that, so that's like my Egypt. But there are things on social media that relate to sins that I had struggled with, or just things that God directly, like, He bought us out of sin. He brought us through that. He gave us freedom from all of that. So why am I going back to that as like for my advice or for my guidance? Yeah, I just think there's just, it's too complicated. Also, like, it just is very overwhelming to consider, specifically talking about social media, how much is on there. And that's just the nature of it. I mean, God knows that. God knows that only in Him will we find real guidance. He's just waiting for us to kind of figure it out, that like, yeah, that advice that you're looking for, or those all these things that you're following or pursuing or chasing for help, are gonna overwhelm you and are actually gonna harm you. And so, yeah, He's waiting for us to turn to Him for our ultimate direction. And so I think it's so patient of Him and so loving, but it's up to us to genuinely still choose that. So, yeah, just a little encouragement, exhortation to me and to you guys, hopefully, is be careful not to go back to your past for advice. As appealing as it sounds, it's actually going to trap you again. But that's the thought for today. Talk to you guys tomorrow. And yeah, let me know if you have any advice about how not to be how not to be late. Or if you just think it's just my battle to live with, then that's okay too. I don't think it is, but I'm open to whatever. All right, anyways, I'll stop talking. Bye.